فأهلكوا بالطاغية وأما عاد فأهلكوا بريح صرصر عاتية سخرها عليهم 7 ليال و8 أيام سخرها عليهم 7 ليال و8 أيام حسوما فترى القوم فيها سرعا كأنهم أعجاز نخل خاوية فهل ترى لهم من باقية وجاء فرعون ومن قبله والمؤتفكات بالخاطئة فعصوا رسول ربهم فأخذهم أخذة رابية إنا لما طغى الماء حملناكم في الجارية لنجعلها لكم تذكرة وتعيها أذن واعية صدق الله العظيم.
میٹھا مدینہ دور ہے جانا میں ضرور ہے چھوڑ فکر دنیا کی چل مدینے چلتے ہیں 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 مصطفیٰ غلاموں کی قسمتیں بدلتے ہیں جس در پہ غلاموں کے حالات بدلتے ہیں جس در پہ غلاموں کے حالات بدلتے ہیں آؤ سیاہ کا کے دربار میں چلتے ہیں آؤ سیاہ کا کے دربار میں چلتے ہیں للہ بلا لیجئے للہ بلا لیجئے دکھ درد کے ماروں کو طیبہ کی زیارت کو ارمان مچلتے ہیں مصطفیٰ غلاموں کی قسمتیں بدلتے ہیں چھوڑ فکر دنیا کی چل مدینے چلتے ہیں فکر دنیا کی، چل مدینے چلتے ہیں، رحمتوں کی چادر کے سر پہ سائے چلتے ہیں، رحمتوں کی چادر کے سر پہ سائے چلتے ہیں، مصطفیٰ کے دیوانے دیوانے دیوانے، مصطفیٰ کے دیوانے، گھر سے جب نکلتے ہیں، چھوڑ فکر دنیا کی، چل مدینے چلتے ہیں، چھوڑ فکر دنیا کی، چل مدینے چلتے ہیں، چل مدینے مدینے چل مدینے مدینے چل مدینے مدینے چل مدینے، ہرا گنبد جو دیکھو گے تو دنیا بھول جاؤ گے، اگر طیبہ کو جاؤ گے تو آنا بھول جاؤ گے، ہرا گنبد جو دیکھو گے تو دنیا بھول جاؤ گے، اگر طیبہ کو جاؤ گے تو آنا بھول جاؤ گے، تمہارے سامنے ہوگا کبھی جب گنبد خضرا، تمہارے سامنے ہوگا کبھی جب گنبد خضرا، نظر جم جائے گی اس پر ہٹانا بھول جاؤ گے، ہرا گنبد جو دیکھو گے تو دنیا بھول جاؤ گے، اگر طیبہ کو جاؤ گے تو آنا بھول جاؤ گے، ہم کو روز ملتا ہے صدقہ لے زغرا کا، صدقہ لے زغرا کا، ان کے دربار سے جب بھی میں نے پنجتن کے وسیلے سے مانگا، مجھ کو خیرات فوراً ملی ہے، مجھ کو خیرات فوراً ملی ہے، خوب میرے گزارے ہوئے گئے، ہم کو روز ملتا ہے صدقہ لے زغرا کا، پنجتن کے ٹکڑوں پر خوش نصیب پلتے ہیں، چھوڑ فکر دنیا کی، چل مدینے چلتے ہیں، چھوڑ فکر دنیا کی، چل مدینے چلتے ہیں، ذکر شاہ بدعا کو ورد اب بنا لیجئے، ذکر شاہ بدعا کو ورد اب بنا لیجئے، یہ وہ ذکر ہے جس سے، یہ وہ ذکر ہے جس سے غم खुशी में ढलते हैं। छोड़ फिक्र दुनिया की, चल मदीने चलते हैं। छोड़ फिक्र दुनिया की, चल मदीने चलते हैं। मीठा मदीना दूर है, जाना हमें जरूर है।
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قد أفلح من تزكى. صدق الله العظيم. You know, a couple of days ago on Wednesday, this country saw one of the biggest strikes in over a decade. You know, almost a decade. Many sectors, many people in many different sectors went on strike. The educational sector, the transport sector, other people as well, they went on strike. Driving instructors, train drivers, etc. And you see, some people go to the extreme where they make their lifelong objective to be things like this: social reform, equality. Some people even give their life, such as the suffragettes in this country. Some people make their objective in life to make a name for themselves, to become famous, to become a celebrity. Some people in life want to be an excellent sports person, so they dedicate all their time into improving their physique and these things. Some people in life want to be rich and famous. They want to have the millions and the billions. And some people maybe do this through business, whether halal or haram, or some people maybe win the lottery. And they think they've hit the jackpot. They've made it, you know, they've struck gold, they've achieved the treasure. When the reality is, all of these things should never be the objective of a Muslim. They're not the treasure, they're not the jackpot. The only real treasure a human can ever achieve is one. And this treasure is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it. It's the only real treasure there is. Now, how you get there is a different story. How you get there, that's what, inshallah, I'm going to just briefly outline as passed down from our blessed teacher and the Mashaykh, You see, the Prophet ﷺ once, they actually drew a diagram and they were explaining to the companions, how does shaitan work? How does Satan work? You see, there are different components as to what one has to do or what one has to go through to achieve the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in general, we can say, okay, there's shaitan and there's dunya, nafs and these things. But it's important to understand, how does the devil himself work? Because that's Sun Tzu said in The Art of War, that if you know your enemy and you know yourself, if you know your enemy and you know yourself, you don't have to worry about the outcome of 100 battles. Meaning, whatever you're confronted with, if you know how the enemy operates and what you can do, what's your capability, what's your potential, then you don't have to worry about anything in the future, any conflict, any trial and tribulation. So it's very important we understand, how does shaitan himself work? How does he stop us achieving the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And then I'll also talk briefly about, what can myself and yourself do? Most people like me who are just lazy, what can I do to achieve the treasure of his pleasure? You see, the Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith sharif to the nearest effect that whoever is saved from hell, whoever is saved from the hellfire and enters Jannah is successful. This is the definition of success. And what myself and yourself have to understand, that money, being rich, is not necessarily a sign Allah Ta'ala likes you. It's not necessarily a sign. Having plenty of children, having all the dunya, all these material possessions, is not necessarily a sign Allah Ta'ala necessarily likes you. Because Allah Ta'ala gives these things to friend and foe. He gives it to non-Muslims and Muslims alike. So don't look at these things as a sign. When really, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only gives his friends, the people who he likes, the deen, and act upon the sunnah. These are the real differentiators. These are the signs Allah Ta'ala likes this person. If a person has a deen in the first place, and this individual or people are acting upon the sunnah. Not knowing the sunnah, acting upon the sunnah. So this is the first thing a person should understand. Yes, there are Muslim millionaires out there, mashallah, that's fine. As long as it's halal earned, that's fine. A person may have many children, that's fine. But look at how closely is a person acts upon the sunnah. This is an indicator. So if I go back even before this, before a person is blessed with all these things, if you look at the world of spirits, if you look at the Alam Arwah, when all of us were there in spiritual form, we were only there as spirits. And obviously one by one we came down here to the face of planet Earth, and we were given the body, the mind, and the heart. All of these things were given to us, and they were given to us to use properly, in the correct fashion, in the correct form. But at the same time, they were given to us, yes, they're a blessing, of course, but it's also an opportunity to utilize these three to gain his pleasure. Because there are many people right now, outside, doing X, Y, and Z. They are only displeasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether they're conscious or unconscious, they are doing certain acts, which I won't want to detail. Their actions, and essentially their life, is only going to lead to the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But mashallah, the brothers and the sisters watching online, mashallah, you're in a gathering of remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So obviously this is a good sign as well that you obviously want his pleasure. You want the ultimate treasure. But a person should never forget that the struggle to do the right thing with the body, mind and soul doesn't stop here. In these gatherings it's easy to be nice to one another, which is a good thing. But what happens when a person goes home? What happens tomorrow when you're all alone? How do we conduct ourselves? How do we treat people? What do we say? What do we do? Where do we go? The 5 daily prayers, as I've said many times before, it's good that a person prays 5 times a day, but in between the prayers, what's going on? Are our actions in between the prayers, are our words and our thoughts in between the prayers, do they reflect the prayer itself? Do they reflect our prayer? Or is it like a graph that goes up and down, up and down? 5 times a day we're up there with the iman, and then other times we're down here without actions, because they don't reflect the prayer. So one of the things a person like myself must do is mujahida, struggle against the lower self. Fight with yourself, not literally obviously, metaphorically, fight with yourself, avoid the sins and obviously do the good actions. Mujahida or jihad, to be in a state of struggle with oneself, is a big component of gaining his pleasure. Because once a person knows the Aqidah, the general creed and the core beliefs of Islam, and if they know the fiqh, which we should all know, the basic fiqh that relate to our daily worship, then in between a person should be striving 24/7. Whenever we're awake, keep striving, keep struggling against their lower self. One of the Blessed Companions talks about jihad in a very simple terms for myself and yourself to understand that, yes, there was jihad in the battlefield at the time when the kuffar were there, throughout history, but our jihad is different. Our jihad is the struggle against the self. It's that daily struggle. It's that struggle to not look at no-mahram. It's that struggle to not listen to music. It's that struggle to not go to somewhere where there's music and intermixing of the genders and these things. It's that struggle. That's our jihad. See, our jihad, or this jihad in particular, that I've just outlined briefly, is the greater jihad, Jihad al-Akbar. Jihad al-Asghar, the minor jihad, is the physical fighting on a battlefield, like history has shown us. So, Sayyidina Ali, radhiyallahu anhu, they talked about this. They said, after they had just finished the battle on the battlefield, they had just stepped off the battlefield, now they said, now the great jihad begins. Now the real test begins, the real struggle. Fighting an enemy, killing them, is all good and well, that's fine, that's a minor, but the major one, and they acknowledged this, they understood this. Why is one minor, why is one major? Because if a person thinks about what are the possible outcomes of the lesser jihad, okay, if you win, okay, that's one thing, but if you lose, what happens? You die as a shaheed, you're a martyr. You look at the blessed life of Hazrat Hamza, they were shaheed, and look at their maqam, look at their station was elevated even more. They were the leaders of the martyrs. So this is the outcome. If a person loses this lower jihad, they become a martyr, straight to the heaven. Alhamdulillah. But the bigger jihad that myself and yourself have to face day in, day out, everywhere and with everyone, what happens if we lose this battle, lose this struggle? What happens? Ultimately, we could lose our iman, our faith. Ultimately, we could end up in the hellfire. This is the potential outcome. So you look at the two outcomes, potentially. One is losing the battle on the battlefield jihad, you're a martyr. Okay, that's the worst case scenario, you lose. Worst case. Worst case scenario, if myself and yourself do not purify the 7 organs, the heart and the mind, we could lose our iman. And forever a person is doomed. They live the life in misery. The barzakh is a place of hellfire and torment and pain. The day of judgment is going to be a painful day, and ultimately thrown into the pits of hellfire for eternity. Something we can never truly comprehend because we work on a timescale. So look at the two possible outcomes, the two worst case scenarios of the minor and major jihad. A person should start to think, okay, purification of the 7 organs, the mind and the heart, it's no joke. It's not something we do out of a hobby. No, this is a matter of life and death. This is a matter of heaven and hell, really. This is the reality. You see, people, maybe you have, people don't like you, well, no, people don't like me, and that's fine. But, on some people may harm you, but they're not real enemies, they're temporal enemies. People come and go, you can make up and, these things. But the real enemy is the nafs and shaitan. They're your real enemies, the one you should really put your effort towards. These are the two enemies that will never go away. Iblis himself declared this from day one. He let it be known at least. He told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm going to misguide your people, except those people of taqwa. He let it be known from day one. Now, if someone says to you, the first time you meet him, I'm going to harm you, I'm going to really, harm you and your family, your loved ones in ways you can never imagine, at least you know where you stand with that person. I'm just giving you an example, Iblis said this from day one. He was arrogant towards his creator. He was arrogant towards creation. He did not obey his Lord. And look at his state. He's now the source of evil. But he let it be known that he is going to harm us from day one. Ever since you were born, he has become your enemy. All the way until you die individually and I die. He's going to be there all the time. And he'll do every single thing possible to take your iman. This is his job. People say, brother, I have waswasa and this, I get these negative thoughts. Well, what did you expect? Really, what did you expect? That's his job. He's doing what he said he'll do. What did you really expect? He's going to come give you a foot massage and make you happy? No, he's going to come and guide you away from the prophetic path, from the straight path. His job is to take your iman. That's it. He's not your friend. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about me. He didn't care about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command. He disobeyed Allah ta'ala. You think he cares about us? Now you have people, these have churches of Satan and these things, astaghfirullah, but people like myself and yourself should understand this. He's public enemy number 1. The devil is public enemy number 1. So a person should really understand this, that whenever a person receives a negative thought in the mind, dispel them straight away. Just get rid of them. Think of something else. Think of something, anything, a problem even to solve. Think of something. If you get a negative thought towards especially your fellow Muslim brother or sister, for those watching online, dispel them. No. Make an excuse for the person. Dispel them straight away. Don't entertain these thoughts whatsoever. And this is where the prophetic path comes into play. This is where tazkiyah comes into play. You see, people ask, well, why is tazkiyah important? Well, okay. If there's a hadith sharif to the narrative about the Prophet ﷺ, they were walking by and there was a grave or a particular individual, and obviously they had insight as to what's going on. And this particular dead person, he was undergoing an extreme form of punishment in the grave. An extreme form of pain was taking place in the grave. And it was said, against the nearest effect, that this person had not purified himself in the dunya. This person didn't purify themselves when they had the opportunity. And now this person is paying the price. Now this person is paying the price in the grave. You see, hell isn't always full of people because they're being punished. No. Hell isn't always for those people. Hell is also for the people who are going to be purified in the hellfire. Why? Because they failed to purify themselves in the dunya. This is the truth. Hell isn't always about punishment. No. Allah Ta'ala loves us. He loves all of us more than we can ever imagine. However, if myself and yourself do not purify ourselves now, today, tonight, then Allah Ta'ala, He can take us whenever He wishes, and a person must go into the hellfire to be purified. Allah Ta'ala loves us all, but He doesn't like our bad actions, our sins, and this is where a person has to get rid of them. If a person thinks, for those who have perhaps heard of the path of purification, the course of self-purification, a person thinks that the price is too high for purification. If anybody thinks the price of purification is too high, then wait till you see the bill of regret. Wait till you see the bill of the punishment in the afterlife. That's on a whole other level. Anybody with an intellect, anybody with half a brain will tell you, think, okay, let's do the time now, let's put the effort in now, let's fix our 7 organs, let's purify our mind and our heart to avoid the bill of regret in the afterlife. It's very black and white. It's not if so, but no, this is how it's going to be. Maybe some people don't like it, but the truth hurts, but so be it. We're all not rational people. We can always think between right and wrong. So either be purified now or inevitably be purified unless Allah forgives you, obviously. There was a famous wali of Allah, a very famous righteous pious person from Delhi, India, Hazrat Nizamuddin Awliya, rahmatullah alayhi. And there's a story once, their marids, they were around them and they saw them in a state of extreme despair. They were crying immensely, and they couldn't stop crying. And obviously the people asking, why is the blessed Shaykh crying? What's wrong? What's happened? And they noticed nearby was a traveller, somebody from outside, and he had come and they asked this person, what's happened? Why is the teacher crying so much? And so the traveller told the followers of this blessed Shaykh that I came and obviously I agreed to the blessed teacher, and they asked me to tell me a story, or tell them a story about the righteous past people of a distant land, of a foreign land where I came from. So I told them a story, and as a result they began crying. So obviously the people inquired further, well, what's the story? What did you tell the teacher that makes him cry so much, non-stop, so heavily? So this traveller went into further detail that, there was a particular person in this distant land called Sheikh Muhammad Buka, and he wanted to be with his blessed teacher. So whatever this country this was, wherever they were from, he wanted to be with his Sheikh, with his teacher, with the rightly guided teacher. And it came to his attention that one day the teacher would leave, because this particular blessed teacher said, I'm going to go back to my childhood land, I'm going to move away. And obviously this student, this person became very sad, and he wants to be in the physical presence, have the sohbah of the Mashaykh and these things. So the teacher said to him, come embrace me once more. And so obviously the student went to the teacher and they embraced him. He said, by the time I opened my eyes, I was in the land of the teacher, this distant land, wherever they were from, this land. And I was in this land and I could see the people there, and people came greet the teacher because they were finally, they returned home. And then after time and time passed, what's happened was they happened to be living next door, in the room next door to the blessed teacher. Now what's happened was, the moment of departure came, physical departure for this teacher and this righteous person. But what happened was, it was obviously, it's a time of sadness, and he could hear the conversation going on next door as this person's about to pass away. And he could hear the blessed sister of this righteous and pious person. He could hear the conversation just because of the way the rooms were, perhaps. And he heard this blessed sister, who's also very, pious, saying, "Don't say that. Don't say that." And he's thinking, what's going on here? What's this conversation where she's saying, "Don't say that, don't say that"? And then further on, this conversation continued, and it got to the point where this person couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't tolerate what's going on. So he went next door to inquire what's going on. At the same time, this blessed sister was coming out. And to cut a long story short, what's happened was, she heard news about some people who were dealing with interest and some bad things about the Christians and Jews. And what's happened was, this person passed away without Iman ultimately. And upon hearing this story, Hazrat Nizamuddin Awliya Rahmatullah Alayh, they began crying. And this was a wali of Allah, began crying in fear of what's their state, what will their outcome be. So when we talk about losing Iman, it's no joke. It's a massive deal. It's a very, very big deal. If a wali of Allah is crying about their state and worried about their condition, what's it about people like myself? I'm not talking about you, so mashallah, you guys are very good, I know. But I'm talking about people like me. What's my status? What should I be doing? So tazkiyah al-nafs is a very, very serious, it's a very big deal. A person should always not fear about death, not worry about death. No, death is nothing, it's going to happen. A person should fear and do dua about the state in which they die. We're all going to die one day, fact. How we die is a different story. And this is why tazkiyah is so important. So myself and yourself all leave this world with Iman. If you think this example is insufficient, then look at Iblis. He was in the heavens with the Malaika in front of Allah Ta'ala. Look at his state, what happened. He didn't give preference to Allah Ta'ala's command. He wasn't compassionate upon creation. He was disrespectful to the messenger at the time. He didn't give preference to the messenger, Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. Look at his state. Again, forecast out of the heavens forever, doomed for life. And this is how Satan then therefore works. He works one step at a time. He doesn't just take someone's iman straight away, no. He does it very deceptively. Very deceptively. He does it one step at a time. He takes the person, leads him astray. Slowly a person may start to abandon the nawafil. A person then starts to abandon the sunnah namaz. And then eventually the fard. And then until there's no iman left at all. This is how he works. This is his trick. You see, understand one thing. He is in competition directly with the Prophet ﷺ. He's in direct competition. Meaning he is in competition to take all of us here, everyone watching online and everyone around the world, straight into the pits of the fire. That's his aim. That's his objective. And he let it be known from day one. And we can help him if we want to. If you just do what he says, it's not hard and it costs nothing. It's completely free. On the other hand, we have our Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Their objective, their aim is to get all of us around the world into Jannah, into heaven. That's their aim. This is what they want. They want us to live in peace, to die with Iman and have a peaceful life forever hereafter. They want us to be with them in Jannah, to be with them, and obviously to live in eternal peace and happiness. So there's a competition going on day in, day out. Every single second you're awake, there's a competition going on between Shaitan himself and the Prophet ﷺ. Now we have, luckily, the blessings of a rightfully guided teacher to show us the prophetic path, to show us the Tariq Muhammadiyah, to show us how to achieve the treasure of his pleasure. We have this. We are very, very blessed, very fortunate. And if a person doesn't take this seriously, then don't be surprised if a person walks the Shaitanic path, because it's always going to be there. And looking around, obviously, the younger brothers here, it look like from primary school and high school. This includes yourselves and the sisters and the people watching online. Perhaps you're of a young age as well. Don't ever think anything mentioned here never applies to you because you're too young. Never think this. No. This applies to everyone. You have a graveyard not far from here, Bolton Graveyard, or anybody watching online. Go to your graveyard, have a look at the graveyard. Go to the Muslim section, go to any part of the graveyard. Look at the ages of the graves. Look at the ages of the people that passed away. And I guarantee you, you will see people buried who are younger than yourselves. There are people buried who are extremely young. Death is only a heartbeat away. Remember this. Death is only ever a heartbeat away. Allah Ta'ala can take whoever He wants, whenever He wants. It's His choice, His right. He knows what's best. So never ever should a youngster think, I'm young, I've got a long life, even especially people like myself who are older. No, get working now. Not tomorrow, not next week, today, now. You know, people say, oh yeah, I'll do tomorrow, I'll sort myself out tomorrow, you know, brother, just one more day and I'll do it. No, tomorrow. No, tomorrow isn't guaranteed for anyone. Nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. Nobody's guaranteed tonight, to be fair. You know, tomorrow, how the word tomorrow is referenced in the Holy Quran. You know when people say tomorrow, you know what it's equated to in the Holy Quran? Tomorrow is equated to the day of judgment in the Blessed Book. This is how it's equated, the day of judgment. So we need to get this out of our heads, people like myself, that no, tomorrow isn't guaranteed for anybody here. The time for action is now. The time for talking is over. So like I said, you know, people have to readdress their priorities in life, get themselves straight as soon as possible. There are many things out there, yes, they are pleasurable. No one's denying music is nice. Obviously, it's a pleasure of the nafs. No one's denying looking at the non-mahram women is not. Of course, this is why it's a pleasure. But it's the wrong kind of pleasure. It's not a real pleasure. It's a trick. It's a deception. You see, people are so fixed, especially with social media, about chasing their dunyawi desires, chasing what they think is their dream, their objective. But what they're doing is these desires are slowly trapping them into a living hell. Anybody who's not walking the prophetic path, anybody who's not giving premise to Allah Ta'ala's command, is actually living in a living hell. They can deny as much as they want. They can say, no, brother, I'm having a good time. No. They're lying. It's wrong. The only people who live in peace are the people who are following the sunnah, people give preference to Allah Ta'ala's command. Those people give preference to the sunnah. They're the ones living peacefully. They're the ones living in a living heaven as such. People get married based on looks. People get married based on a person's financial status. They get married, then don't be surprised when they get divorced. There are many celebrities who I won't name, but you know, everyone knows who's out there getting married. Why do you think divorce rates are so high? Well, if you're basing a marriage based on physical looks, you think looks are going to last? Money goes up and down. Doesn't mean much. So no wonder people get divorced. Many people are living in a living hell today in this day and age because people are chasing their own pleasures. They marry someone based on looks. They're chasing their own lustful desires. They aren't marrying people, and I'm talking about Muslims here even. They're not marrying for the correct reasons. And one of the blessed Hadith Sharif summarizes that hellfire is surrounded by desires, lustful desires, haram desires. So if a person is doing it in this life, where do you think they're most likely to end up? Whereas heaven is surrounded by mujahidah, struggle, hard work. You know what they call the grind these days, Islam people call the grind? Yes, you have to grind. You have to put the effort in. You have to wake up in the morning when you don't feel like waking up to pray Fajr Salah. Yes, you have to fast in Ramadan when you don't want to fast perhaps. Yes, you have to give up pornography, music, nightclubs, all these things when perhaps you don't want to. This is mujahidah. This is modern mujahidah. Hazrat Abdul Qadir Jalani rahmatullah alayh, they said, live like a lion, not a sheep. Live like a lion, not a sheep. Don't be a sheep, don't follow the crowd. So many people out there doing the wrong thing, and unfortunately those who are weak, they just follow the crowd. Now you have Muslims celebrating Christmas and Halloween and stuff, doing these things. Why? Because the crowd's doing it. Whereas the lion, on the other hand, the lion stands his ground. He doesn't bow down to any of these public pressures. He's a lion amongst the sheep. Hazrat Abdul Qadir rahmatullah also talk about the eagles. Look at how the eagle flies on a whole different level to the rest of the bird kingdom. He said, be like the eagles. They said, be like an eagle. Don't be like the pigeons, the common birds. Common people are like pigeons. No, there's nothing against pigeons per se, but you see pigeons everywhere. You see them in the town centre, on the street. Pigeons are everywhere. And they fly at a lower altitude. They're down here. Only eagles fly with eagles. A pigeon can never fly on the altitude an eagle can. Impossible. When a person walks the prophetic path, when a person sincerely makes the intention and the effort of purifying themselves, they go into a whole other level. Whole other level. A level many people are not willing to work towards. This is what they were talking about. And now we have a term for this as well. It's called groupthink. Groupthink. Groupthink is a very dangerous mentality to have. It's a very dangerous mentality. Groupthink says, just do what the group are doing. Be right or wrong, if the group are doing it, just go with the flow. Why? Because the group are doing it. The masses are doing it. However, our tradition, our deen, has never believed in groupthink. We stand up for the truth. And if people don't like you for it, so be it. It's their loss. We stand up for the truth. We stand up for the haqq. We stand up for the sunnah by implementing it. We don't care if people think negatively about us. He looks like a extremist or a terrorist and these things. No. The truth is the truth. The sunnah will survive with or without us. It's that simple. Now we can either choose to adopt the sunnah and benefit from it, or Allah Ta'ala will replace us. It's very simple. He doesn't need me. He doesn't need you. He doesn't need any of us. We're all expendable. Everybody here, everyone watching online, we're all expendable. And we saw this in COVID. We saw Allah Ta'ala doesn't need our worship in COVID. When the first lockdown happened, we saw the Haram Sharif gates were locked. The Haram Sharif was empty. He doesn't need our worship. He doesn't need our Umrah, our Hajj. No, we need him. He doesn't need us. So like I said, myself and yourself have an option. Purify ourselves now or purify it later. Pay the price now or pay it later. One way or another, we're all going to be purified. The choice is ours. You see, on the day of judgment, what will happen is, whenever we are brought forth, the people who took the Qiyas seriously, and the people who gave preference to the Sunnah seriously, they will have obviously their own station. They will be given their own reward. On the other hand, understand one thing, there will be people who will be brought forth to the Prophet ﷺ, and these are the people, they will be specifically mentioned by the angels. They will be said about, the angels will say to the Prophet ﷺ that these people oppose your Sunnah. These people chose to live a different way. They knew your Sunnah, they knew the prophetic path, they knew the prophetic way, but they chose to live a different way. Not only that, they misguided others. They were misguided by themselves, and they misguided others. What will the response be? The Prophet ﷺ will say to them, effect, take them away. Take them away. I don't even want to look at these people. This is how serious applying the Sunnah is. We don't want to be amongst those people, the losers. We don't want to be those people, no. If a person just takes those first few steps on applying the Sunnah, the rest of it, inshallah, will come naturally, and Allah Ta'ala will be pleased. You will gain His pleasure. You will be pleasing the Prophet ﷺ as well. The two are not separate. They go hand in hand, so to speak. But there will be people on that day when they can't change their mind, they can't change their actions. No, what's done is done. The people in this day and age who oppose the Sunnah, I don't need to name those people. Perhaps you know. But this is one of the very dangerous outcomes potentially for a person. If a person consciously opposes the Sunnah and also tells others not to follow the Sunnah. It's very, very dangerous. Now, moving back to the other crowd, the people that Prophet ﷺ liked, obviously, he loves all of us. Obviously, he wants the best for everyone, even those who are currently misguided. He wants the best for them still. You see, what will happen is there'll be many, many pulpits on the Day of Judgment. Many pulpits. You know, the minbar made of light, diamonds, rubies. So many pulpits for all the prophets will be there. All of them will be they'll be sat upon by the prophet. One prophet per pulpit. But one pulpit will remain empty. One pulpit will not have anyone sat on. And this pulpit is specifically for the Prophet ﷺ. It will not be sat upon by them. The angels will come and ask the Prophet ﷺ, please take your, sit on your pulpit, just come here. This is your station, this is your maqam, you are the praised one. And obviously they'll say very beautiful things to the Prophet ﷺ. However, the Prophet ﷺ will refuse very politely. But listen to the reason why. They said that I don't want to sit, I don't want to go towards this pulpit, just in case Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells me to enter heaven and my ummah will be left behind. They will not go to their own pulpit, that which they rightly deserve. It's theirs, for nobody else. All the prophets will be there behind their pulpits, yet this one will remain vacant because they fear being told to enter Jannah while me and you and all the creation, all the humanity will be left behind on Judgment Day. They said, if the heat comes, I'll bear the heat, but I don't want to leave my ummah behind. This is their love they had for us. This is the passion. This is prophetic passion they have for their ummah. People like yourselves and myself. They said, you will either find me on that day near the Fountain of Qasr, near the Mazan, here and other places, but I will not go near the pulpit in case I get told to go into heaven and my ummah is left behind. This is how far ahead they're thinking. From 1400 years ago when they were physically here, all the way to Judgment Day and beyond. This is how far their vision was. This is how big their hearts was. This is prophetic passion. And yet we have people who make excuses. Oh, brother, I can't grow a beard, I won't get married, or I can't wear the imam shif, I can't wear the labas. Excuses, excuses, excuses. That's all they have. And the danger is if they keep going with excuses, they will die with excuses and they'll be raised with the same excuses. On the last day when excuses won't stand any weight whatsoever. So this is the reality, this is the world we're living in. There are people out there who don't like the sunnah, they don't want to follow it because of public pressure, because how people may think, what people may say about them, who cares? When it comes to these things, a person shouldn't care about what people think. Only care what the Prophet ﷺ thinks, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thinks, because they are very conscious as to what's going on all the time. How we conduct ourselves every single day, the Prophet ﷺ they're fully aware of what's going on. Don't think because, yes, physically they're in Medina Sharif. No, they know exactly what's going on. The fact that Allah Ta'ala is watching us, He's with us, He's hearing us, He knows exactly what's going on. So we should always give preference to them too when it comes to these kind of issues. You see, when we come to gatherings like this, when a person attends regular majaz like your brothers and sisters do, mashallah, when a person studies the deen, understand even these things, yes, they are good, but it's not enough still. When a person prays and does all these, yes, amal is necessary, but when it comes to studying the deen, a person has perhaps studied the soul and the skin, these things, yes, but the books and these things, they should act as thirst builders. They should motivate the person to do tazkiyah. Tazkiyah is an action. It's not books and words in a book. No. Tazkiyah is done all the time. It's very easy. You don't need money. You don't need time. Yes, a bit of mujahid, of course. But when a person comes to, like we have qualified a start today, that you'll be able to speak to regarding tazkiyah, just come see them, and then off you go, and then do your amals, do your tazkiyah then. Just like a person who's ill, has a sickness, that goes to the doctor maybe 5-10 minutes. Soon they'll be charging £20, I believe. At least our stars will never charge you. Okay, you go to the doctor for, and they give you a prescription, you go away, apply the prescription for 2 weeks, 30 days, whatever. And obviously if you still feel sick, come back, or you had a new ailment, come back. This is the same. You come, you see the qualified ustad, they will tell you what to do, go away, do the actions, come back when you want. And you move upwards and onwards from here on. So never a person should think that, oh, I've read a book on tazkiyah, I know this, I've done this course, I've attended a weekend retreat and or anywhere and I've done this and I know everything. No. Yes, these are very good things. A person should do this, but these only act as first builders. Like I said before, if a person comes here today or somebody watching on that and they go away and commit a sin, anything, it could be fraud, anything, then obviously this is a sign itself that no, the tazkiyah is done by the person in between the majalis, in between the 5 daily prayers. I'll give you an example. There was a joke, and don't take it seriously, by the way. It's a joke. It's not historically correct either, but it's a joke to prove a point. About fraud. Many Muslims unfortunately do fraud against the government, fraud against their business partner, or they rip off people on any level. There was an Asian guy, and he was sat with Albert Einstein on a plane, and it's not true this, so historically it makes no sense, but it's a funny joke I heard. There was an Asian guy sat with Albert Einstein and sat on a plane. And the Asian guy says to Einstein, Einstein's very clever, this is a long journey, should we play a game? Einstein goes, okay. So he goes, okay. I'll ask you any question, and if I get it wrong, I'll give you £5. But because you're Einstein, you're very clever, if you get something wrong, you have to give me £500. Einstein goes, okay. So Einstein asks him, so the Asian guy asks him, the Einstein asks him that, okay, because he's a scientist, how far is the moon? And so the Asian guy says, I'll be honest, I don't know how far the moon is. So Einstein pays him £500. And the Asian guy goes, Okay, what goes up a hill with 4 legs and comes down with 3? And I started thinking, contemplating, all this scientific knowledge. He's thinking. He goes, I don't know. So he hands over £500. And then the other Asian guy was about to ask the next question, and Einstein goes, by the way, what does go up a hill with 4 legs and come down with 3? And the Asian guy gives him a £5. Obviously the guy tricked him, it's fraud, but it's trickery for money. But again, it's not true, so don't think, oh, what are you talking about? No. But, just be careful with these things. So, I said, in between your acts of worship, how are we living? How are we using our 7 organs? How are we using this brain, this God-given intellect? How are we using our heart? This is what makes a difference. This is what can make and break a person. It's easy for me to sit here and talk the talk, but I have to walk the walk. Talking's all good, but words are cheap. Actions always speak louder than words. You look at the actions of the companions, their actions spread Islam. Yes, obviously they went out to the dawah, but it was how they conducted themselves with the non-Muslims. This is how people are drawn into Islam, because actions speak louder than words. So a person may study Islam, they may study it themselves, they may read a book, they may attend a seminar or these things, and then think I'm a scholar, start giving fatwa and dawah and these things. Oh, obviously what you learn is useful, but never ever think that, okay, I've done a course on tazkiyah or self-purification, I know it. No. You have to act upon the teachings. You have to go away and act upon them. Because all these things are very relevant. Yes, learning tazkiyah from a teacher is very useful. It's incredibly useful, especially after your creed, your fiqh. But unfortunately, people spend their time reading booklets and pamphlets on things that have no bearing on them whatsoever. Yes, in Islam we have the Dajjal and Gog and Magog and these things, but these things are written. What's going to happen is going to happen. Gog and Magog, we may not be alive when they come on the face of the earth or when they're here. These things won't benefit you necessarily, no. Go to the things that impact you now. Learn the things that affect you right here, right now. Learn the things that affect your marital stature, relations, your friendship with your friends, your neighbours. Learn those things first. Give preference to those. Learn to use the 7 organs because you use this every single day. Learn how to use this properly. Learn how to use this properly. These things we all use every single day. Gog and Magog can wait. Allah Ta'ala has written what's going to happen with them. Don't worry about these things. It's like in this day and age, people can't even greet one another properly. We say, Assalamu alaikum. People don't do this properly. Some say so harshly and you think this guy's going to bite my head off. Some people just do it and they don't even look at you. They just turn away and just, whatever, and a little softy little handshake like this, a pathetic handshake. No. Greet someone with a smile. Do it properly. Acknowledge the person's presence. When you say peace be upon you, mean it, peace be upon you. Don't just say it. Make the person aware that you mean it. There's a very beautiful greeting we have in our tradition, peace be upon you. So don't say it angrily. People can't even say salam properly nowadays, unfortunately. So the causes of purification, A, is nothing new. And B, do not forget, this is the way of the Mashayikh. This is the way of the righteous and pious. Hazrat Abdul Qadir Jilani, rahmatullah alayh, they themselves applied this. And this was a person who was a born wali. A person born purified. But even they had to do mujahada, even they had to do struggle, and they learnt and sat with their Mashayikh and their teachers. So what's to say about people like myself and yourself? Mostly people like me, really. What should we be doing? How serious should we be taking this? There's a hadith sharif against the notes, the fact that the Prophet ﷺ said, now listen to this translation. They said that, I guarantee Jannah for the one who safeguards the tongue and the private parts. Again, I'll say that again. I guarantee Jannah, the one who safeguards the tongue and the private parts. 2 of the 7 organs. Obviously, the tongue we use all the time as well. Now, who's saying this? The best of creation. And what are they saying? They themselves guarantee heaven. They guarantee Jannah for the person who can control this and the private parts. And if that message hasn't hit home, I don't know what's will really, but a person should really go away, think about this. Am I using my tongue properly? Really, am I speaking with ikhlas? Am I speaking the truth? Am I being gentle with my fellow brethren or fellow sisters watching out with the fellow sisters? Am I speaking to the elders and the youngsters with dignity, with respect, with humility, with softness? I'll give you a classic example. Again, I don't have much time, but Sayyidina Ali, radiallahu anhu, look at their life, look at their blessed life. Somebody who achieved the treasure of his pleasure. Listen to their advice about using the tongue. Listen to this. They said to the nearest effect that do not talk about your riches in front of the poor. Don't talk about wealth in front of somebody who's poor. Don't talk about your good health in front of the sick. Don't talk about your power in front of the weak. Don't talk about the joys of your life in front of the sad ones. Don't talk about your freedom in front of the slave. Don't talk about your children in front of those who are infertile. Don't talk about your parents in front of orphans, because they cannot stand the pain. I heard somebody who's on a whole different level, however, they were very, very conscious how to use this, because they were thinking on a whole other level. They were so compassionate upon creation, they were thinking what to say, but what not to say, in which circumstance, to which people. Don't mention this, this, and this in front of these people. And we remember them specifically because their blessed birthday was on about this time of the year, 13th of Rajab. And unfortunately, people, they don't take the Sahaba Ikram seriously. I don't know why. There's plenty to learn. And unfortunately, people turn to Sheikh Google this, Google that. They have a question, go straight to Google on their phone. That's the first thing they do. Why? Maybe because it's easy. But they don't know the source. They don't know who wrote this article. They don't know the background of their websites. But Google's their teacher, unfortunately. And they just go with that. So again, photos based on an internet article they read. They have no historical context, no accuracy check, nothing. No wonder people are living in a state of confusion. We are living a time of extreme confusion. There's Brother Ijaz here, Brother Ijaz, I know Brother Jabi's in America. Back in university, we did a module of science called geotechnics. It sounds very geeky. It actually is quite geeky anyway, but I enjoyed it anyway. I remember we were learning about geotechnics, and we were also learning how to design highways and roads. Now, I don't know, maybe in Bolton, but sometimes you have a roundabout on a road. Have you ever wondered why sometimes they remove the roundabout and put traffic lights? Does anybody know why they do this, by the way? No? Okay. So, because there's one in Rochdale when I used to come across, there was a roundabout there, but what's happened was the roundabout, there would be loads of accidents, because people would pull out at the wrong time, and people use the wrong judgment. A roundabout essentially involves people coming to a roundabout from different junctions, 2, 3, 4, and you have to use your judgment when to pull out, when to get on the roundabout, or when to leave and indicate or change lanes. But it involves thinking. Now listen to this. This is how the highways agency operates. So what happens is, if a particular roundabout has too many accidents going on, the highways agency from the government step in and say, okay, we're going to get rid of the roundabout, we're going to put traffic lights, red, amber, green. Because sometimes drivers can't think when to pull out, when to not, and this is why we have too many accidents. So the highways agency said, okay, we're going to control it for you. We're going to tell you when to stop, when to go. They removed that component of thinking out of it, so it's safer for everyone. The course of self-purification is a similar thing in that it takes the thinking out. You don't need to think, just do what it says. Follow the steps, step by step. Don't think, just do. Really, don't think, just do what it says. This course has been tried and tested centuries upon centuries, and it has worked for people before, and it will work again if you just do what it says. You don't have to think about anything. There's no danger about it. No. It will take you from A to Z, from a sinner to a saint. It has the potential to do this if we just do what it says. Follow it step by step, stick to the amals, and a person can get to the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, going back to the other module, the geotechnics, that I said was rather geeky. Geotechnics is essentially the study of soil, how strong soil is. And you're probably thinking how sad Ustadh Suffian studying soil. Anyway, it wasn't easy, I'll be honest, it was quite hard, but I had a very good lecturer from Scotland. Anyway, there's a thing called sieve analysis. You have sieves in the kitchen, sieves, you put flour in or something, you sieve it out. And what sieve analysis is, essentially there are 7 sieves, and each sieve has a different size aperture, different size hole. It starts off with a big hole, and as you go down the 7, holes get finer, 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 and they're very small holes. And what happens is, if you want to test, let's say, a particular ground, you want to build a building, somebody will come along, dig a sample, and they will put it through these sieves, and they will see how much of the soil passes each and every filter. And what happens is, you actually want to get to the bottom and see how much of the fine soil remains, how much is in the actual ground, because the fine soil has a big impact on the strength of the soil in the ground itself. How strong is that ground depends on the quantity of the fine soil. Our actions are the same. There's a filtration process going on with our actions. Yes, when we pray, that's a good thing. But where's our heart? Where's our mind? Where's our ikhlas? There's a filtration process going on. Why do we pray? Why do we do any good thing? Is it to show off? Is it so people say good things about us? Or are we doing it to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So already our actions go through like a filtration process. It's like a purification process almost. So never a person should never forget that this is very important to understand. If we just keep in our heads that we want to please Allah ta'ala, we want to follow His command, follow His sharia or His sacred law, give preference to His messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then inshallah a person can achieve His pleasure. So a person should then also, in addition to purifying the 7 organs, and if a person can say, brother, I don't need tazkiyah for the 7 organs, alhamdulillah, all good and well, crack on. Obviously that's the first stage, but if a person thinks, okay, but why make life hard difficult for yourself? Why should I make life hard for me? Life's already hard as it is. We have enough problems, everyone has a masibah. No, this is one headache you don't need. Just listen to the course, listen to the better teacher and the mashayikh, do as they say, make life easy for yourself. A person without tazkiyah, a person who doesn't want to do purification, is like, a person jogging on a treadmill. Anybody who goes jogging or exercise, and I do this as well on a treadmill, it's incredibly boring, but really you're going nowhere. You're putting the effort in, but you're going nowhere. You're static. This is a person without tazkiyah. It's like a person on a treadmill. And like I said earlier on, the Sufiyah, the people of purification, they are not made from books. Books never made anyone. Because books don't teach people. People teach people. Hazrat Abdul Qadir al-Jani al-Baghdadi rahmatullahi alayhi said that purified people, the Sufiyah, came from men, the mouths of men. This teaching, this tazkiyah, the course of purification passed down from men, not books. Books are the graveyard of great scholars, they're the graveyards. It is people that pass on this knowledge. Just as it was passed on to our blessed teacher, they pass it on to yourselves and myself. And there's such wisdom in this course of purification that even Aristotle said that there were 3 key components. 3 components, anything in life. To be successful, you need 3 key components. Aristotle said, the great Greek philosopher, he said you need ethos, pathos, and logos. This is obviously Greek, which I'll translate. Ethos, pathos, logos. Ethos is ethics. You have to be ethical. If you want to run a business or do something to earn a living, it has to be ethical. If it's ethical, you will succeed. There's nothing more ethical than the Sharia. Nothing. There's no system in the world that's more ethical than Sharia. The sacred law, His law. The course of purification implements the Sharia. How to use the 7 organs in a halal manner. That's step 1. Step 2 is logos. Logos is logic. What's more logical than worshipping the one true God? What's more logical than following His beloved, but the best of creation? What's more logic than dedicating your life into your Creator, to what He wants you to do, to give preference to His messenger, to give preference to His creation? There's nothing more logic than this. And the 3rd step is pathos. Pathos is passion. You have to have passion. The course of self-purification implements the prophetic passion, because the Prophet ﷺ then, now, and forever are extremely passionate for us to all enter heaven. This is how passionate they are. Passion has to be embedded, and the course of purification is full of passion. It's passionate about making us a better human being, a better father, a better sister, a better brother, a better businessman. Passion is completely embedded in it. It's all full of heart. It's all heart. Anything else without these 3 things, Aristotle said, is doomed for failure. There was a person once approached the very blessed personality, Hazrat Abdul Hassan al-Shadi rahmatullahi alayhi, and he said, I want to get close to Allah Ta'ala, I want His mercy, I want His friendship, I want His pleasure, but it's too hard, I don't want to leave my dunya, I don't want to leave my family, these things. And it was said to them by the blessed teacher at the time that, don't worry about this, you don't have to worry about all these things. I won't remove dunya from you, I won't take you from the dunya, I will take dunya from you. This is the effects of tazkiyah. A person doesn't have to give up their work, their business, their family, no. These things that keep going, they're the good things, they're jais. But he said, I will remove dunya from you. Don't worry about the rest. So this is their blessed guidance to a person who was thinking, and perhaps someone's thinking right now, if I walk this prophetic path, I have to give up this. No one's asking you to give up anything as such. All we have to do is make small changes, a small change here, a small change there, And these small changes, when combined, can take you up to a whole other level you never imagined. Small changes, small adaptations. That's all it is. If you just change the music to a nasheed, alhamdulillah, good. If you change maybe, I don't know, a haram income to a halal income and it may be blessed, alhamdulillah, good. Small changes here and there that involve the 7 organs or the mind, the heart, this is what changes the person. Speaking of change, small adaptations, I'll tell you something I actually got permission to pass on. One of my good friends, I mentioned him before, Chris Williams, and he's on YouTube, you can see his fights. He's the head coach of Team GB kickboxing, anyway. And he has a certain philosophy with the way he fights people, the way he competes. And this is a person who knows kickboxing, kung fu, karate, taekwondo, BJJ, you name it, weapons, he knows it. He's very, very, he's up there anyway. He has a philosophy, and I have his permission to say this, because this philosophy can be applied to anywhere in life. You see, one day I was watching them, and he had a training session going on, and you have the country's best, some of the best kickboxers there, and they're sparring. And I was watching him, and every single person, maybe 12, 15 people were there. He was sparring with every single person, but he was sparring differently. And he was winning every round. All these guys are black belts, high-level black belts. And there was one person, he was a second dan as well. And this person was new, but he knew that he was a black belt. So this second dan was fighting Chris. And he pulled off a few good techniques, He didn't quite catch him, but Chris didn't throw anything back. He didn't punch or kick, he just block, move, evasion, anyway. And so then after the first round, Chris smiled, and he was happy. He goes, round 2, I'm going to change my style. He made some small changes, and round 2, he destroyed this second dan black belt, destroyed him. Not battered him, as in knock him out, just, ran circles around him. Every person he went to, he adapted his style for different people, for different situations. One was a better kicker, one was a better boxer, etc., etc. And then afterwards, he said to me, there's 3 words he applied to be successful in all these different situations, all these conflicts, all these world champions, and they were world champions. He said there were 3 words I applied, and this can be applied in everyday life. Adapt, adopt, improve. Adapt, adopt, improve. So if you find yourself in a situation that's unpleasant, if you find yourself, okay, I'm doing something wrong here, adapt. If you are listening to music, adapt the music to an nasheed by adopting a note and you improving the situation of your ears. If you find yourself, you're struggling with looking at pornography or looking at Namarum, okay, adapt. Adapt your situation. Don't look up, look down, cross the road. Adapt your situation. Adopt the sunnah of lowering the gaze, improve your situation. Adapt, adopt, improve. And this can be carried out throughout your entire life, for any situation. And it's these small adaptations, the small changes of how we utilize the 7 organs, these make a big change. Because I said it before and I say it again, Iblis, he's on a mission. He declared war to each and every one of us since the day we were born. His job is to take our iman. We have ups and downs in life, yes. We all go through trials and tribulations, yes. We have good and bad times. But to understand one thing, that if you lose money, you lose nothing. If you lose your health, you lose something. But if you lose your iman, you lost everything. Everything is lost if you lose your iman. And I'm going to finish off with a few wise words, a few golden words, and an example of Sayyidina Ali, radhiyallahu anhu. Again, a person who did, obviously, and is in the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they passed on some sincere guidance as to how a person can do this. You see, they said, to the nearest effect, that no goodness in praying, there's no goodness in praying without the awe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without being in His presence. There's no goodness in praying. There's no goodness in fasting without refraining from idle talk and sin. There's no goodness in reading the Quran without contemplation and thinking, reflecting. There's no goodness in learning without acting accordingly. There's no goodness in wealth without giving out in the way of Allah Ta'ala. There's no goodness in fellowship without offering help to those in need. There's no goodness in blessings without shukr, without gratitude for the blessing. There's no goodness in dhikr and dua without ikhlas, without sincerity. And these are some of the golden words, whereas these words should be really written by the water, the fountain of Gawthar, words of wisdom. And if we apply this guidance, by walking the prophetic path, myself and yourself can, inshallah, achieve the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. And in closing, there's one more blessing, there's one more thing a person should never forget. You see, when a person enters heaven, when people are in heaven eventually, when people are there, what will happen is Allah Ta'ala will ask them, the inhabitants of heaven, are you happy? Are you happy? And the people of heaven will say, Alhamdulillah, yes, Allah Ta'ala, we are happy. We have everything here. We've even seen your blessed beauty. Allah Ta'ala will say, I have something more to give you yet, something else. And then the people say, Ya Allah, we are happy with everything, They won't understand what's this one thing Allah Ta'ala will still give in heaven. Despite have everything you want, everything they want will be there. Allah Ta'ala will finally say to the people of heaven, people of Jannat, from here on, I will never be displeased with you. I will always be happy with you, forever and ever. This is the treasure of His pleasure. And the easiest way, the quickest way of achieving His pleasure is the course of self-purification. So Allah Ta'ala make it easy for myself and yourself to achieve His pleasure in all our rest of our lives. If I've said anything that's benefited you, then all praise is due to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Only the mistakes are mine.
Inshallah, now there will be 2 clips played that are specifically sent to the media team from Hassab. So it's really important that we concentrate and listen to them properly. And also after that, there's going to be a retreat trailer for upcoming summer retreat. Jazakallah.
And food will all be included in the package. Connect with Allah and His beloved, may peace and blessings be upon him, in the most beautiful surroundings, and spend some quality time with family and friends. Prophetic Path Islamic Family Holiday on the 25th, 26th, 27th and 28th of August. Book your place today.
So everyone's now seen that trailer, and I'd like to formally invite every one of you in this room to really what is the main flagship event of the Tariq this year. So you've seen the trailer. It's based, obviously includes your accommodation, your food. Some of the activities which are offered are like zip wires, high ropes, there's like an assault course, canoeing. I can see Brother Saif's getting excited at the mention of canoeing. maybe he's got a special skill in it, or even Brother Javid smiled at the high ropes. I think I'll probably pay to see that, and I think Maulana Mustafa is looking a bit scared. Don't worry, Maulana Sahib, it's all very safe, so you don't need to worry about that. But joke aside, this is the main event, and really it's designed for both individuals and families. So really, all families can come, and there's activities, even specific activities for children as well. So it's not just about the adults as such, it's also about really the children having specific activities for them. And those of you, maybe like Brother Shabir, who this is probably nothing for him because he's doing the Manvi Mountain Challenge, there's other stuff like zikr sessions, workshops, morning walks that he said, so because otherwise this will be too easy for him in that regard. So I really urge everyone to book as soon as they can, and we do have an early bird offer, which is obviously £179 per person in that regard, and the ticket price will then go up to £219 per person. And that may sound a lot, but as you said, you're getting really a 4-day mini type break, which obviously includes your accommodation, you get 3 meals a day, and all these activities are included in that price, so you're not going to get charged. It's not one of them holidays where you go to Turkey and then you realise you've got to pay another 60 quid to go jet skiing or something like that. So it's all included within that price in that regard. Now tell me, some people might, obviously, alhamdulillah, there's plenty of brothers who are blessed in here to afford that £179 in one go. But who finds maybe £179 a bit difficult to pay in one go? Put your hand up, please. Oh, mashallah, look, no one's putting their hand up, so I expect everyone's going to pay in one go. We also have a payment plan option as well, so you can spread the payments out to make it easy in that self. But as no one has put their hand up, I assume that's not going to be needed, and everyone will pay in one go. So inshallah, that is in the bank holiday weekend in August. Yes, and so obviously people can, this is when you can actually take your phone out in a majlis, so you don't have to worry about it, and now nobody's getting their phone out. If you scan that QR code, then you can get more details in regarding to that. And obviously if anyone would like any further details regarding the event, they can come and see myself after the food. Jazakallah khair. I'll hand over.
So as the Ustad mentioned with regards to the purification course as well, as they mentioned something really important in their bayan, which was that you're going to have to do your purification, whether it's in this dunya or it's in hell. It's something that has to happen. So a person should, if he's not already doing his purification, they should take advantage of this, because you don't know when a person's going to die. As I mentioned in the graveyard, if you go there and look at the age groups, they could be younger than any of us here. So for that reason, there is a course of purification here that we do actually provide, where a person can take steps, small steps, and come closer to the Prophet ﷺ, closer to Allah and His pleasure as well. So if you would like more information on that, see me after the Zikr Majlis. There is general announcements as well. The Bagh Welfare Trust, they've got an event coming up around May time, and that is for 4 maternity units. Blood rush to your legs. and refresh as well the three keys that Allah is watching me, Allah hears me, and Allah sees me.
عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحي القيوم تأخذه سنة ولا نوم، له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض. من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه، يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يعوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا. مولاي صل وسلم على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا. على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. محمد 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 سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من رب ومن وسلم أبدا مولاي صل وسلم على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته لكل حول من الأهوال مقتحم لكل حول من الأهوال مقتحم. فاعلم أنه لا إله إلا الله فاعلم أنه محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا 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 الله 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 لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله 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 إلا
إلا الله
Allah
حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم 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 أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه وأتوب إليه أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه وأتوب إليه أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله
غير الله
الذي لا إله إلا هو
الذي لا إله إلا هو
الحي القيوم
الحي القيوم
وأتوب إليه
وأتوب إليه
اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله
وأصحابه وسلم
الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله بنعمته تتم الصالحات يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك يا ربنا لك الشكر كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك يا ربنا لك المجد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه في كل لمحة ونفس عدد ما وسعه علم الله يا أول الأولين يا آخر الآخرين يا راحم المساكين يا ذا القوة المتين يا ذو العرش المجيد يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا حل المشكلات. By your fadl and grace and your mercy accept this dhikr of majlis and nasiha. And we have committed many sins, Ya Rabbil Alameen, in the past, but you are the most merciful. Your mercy is endless, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Your mercy is unimaginable, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Oh Ya Rabbil Alameen, we have done many deeds, Ya Rabbil Alameen, but they are not enough to be presented to yourself, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Please compensate our shortcomings with your blessings and your mercy. Till this day we have done many sins, Ya Rabbil Alameen, but we have no one to turn to except you. You are the all merciful. You are all forgiving, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen, you are unique. You are Ahad in every sifa. You are the most merciful. Enable us to be grateful for the greatest blessing, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us to be human beings and to be from the Ummah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and all the forgiveness for people who seek for your mercy. Grant them, shower your mercy on top of them.
and the people who seek for the truth, the non-believers. Allow the nur and the light of Islam to shine upon them. And all the blessings and the rewards of the dhikr and majlis, send them to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and all the other prophets that have come before him, and all the sahabas and the tabi'een and the taba tabi'een and the awliya. Ya Rab, for example, Sayyidina Abdul Aziz al-Dabbagh, Qudus al-Sir al-Aziz, and Sayyidina Abdul Qadir al-Jilani rahimahullah ta'ala. Ya Rabb al-Alameen, we are grateful for you for giving shifa to our blessed teacher Sayyidina Ahmad Dabbagh radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Ya Rabb al-Alameen, we are grateful for you have given us so many blessings that we do not know of, and so many blessings that we do not fathom, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Allow us to be steadfast in our tribulations and our trials, especially in this month of Rajab. Allow us to conquer every sin, every addiction, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Allow us to create good things, our habits, and create ease for us in our hardships, Ya Rabbal Alameen. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين آمين برحمته.
Prophetic Path presents a unique Islamic family summer holiday. Amazing activities to cater and fulfill your spiritual, mental, and physical needs. Bring yourself, your friends, and family to this spiritually uplifting, exquisite 4 days of enjoyable activities alongside inspiring short discourses delivered by qualified scholars at Condover Hall in Shropshire. Accommodation, activities, and food will all be included in the package. Connect with Allah and His beloved, may peace and blessings be upon him, in the most beautiful surroundings, and spend some quality time with family and friends. Prophetic Path Islamic Family Holiday on the 25th, 26th, 27th and 28th of August. Book your place today. Prophetic Path presents a unique Islamic family summer holiday. Amazing activities to cater and fulfill your spiritual, mental, and physical needs. Bring yourself, your friends, and family to this spiritually uplifting, exquisite 4 days of enjoyable activities alongside inspiring short discourses delivered by qualified scholars at Condover Hall in Shropshire. Accommodation, activities, and food will all be included in the package. Connect with Allah and His beloved, may peace and blessings be upon him, in the most beautiful surroundings, and spend some quality time with family and friends. Prophetic Path Islamic Family Holiday on the 25th, 26th, 27th and 28th of August. Book your place today. Prophetic Path presents a unique Islamic family summer holiday. Amazing activities to cater and fulfill your spiritual, mental, and physical needs. Bring yourself, your friends, and family to this spiritually uplifting, exquisite 4 days of enjoyable activities alongside inspiring short discourses delivered by qualified scholars at Condover Hall in Shropshire. Accommodation, activities, and food will all be included in the package. Connect with Allah and His beloved, may peace and blessings be upon him, in the most beautiful surroundings, and spend some quality time with family and friends. Prophetic Path Islamic Family Holiday on the 25th, 26th, 27th and 28th of August. Book your place today.